All right. So just to let you all know that Debbie has been with Toastmasters for about 20 years. She's currently working towards her Pathways DTM and is a member of 7 clubs. She's a member of the District 14 Pathways training team, and she's actually here to kind of go and help us make sense on how to use Pathways, Basecamp, and kind of go with that theme about making sure that we are accountable for the things that we can control in Toastmasters. And she loves Toastmasters because it can change lives. Matter of fact, it did hers. All right, I'm going to give the floor to Debbie right now. Everyone give it up for Debbie Thompson.
So let me tell you about Pathways. I had some people ask me, what is the difference between Pathways and Toastmasters? You guys use that term all the time, and I don't understand. So I thought we'd do a little bit of basics today. I want to talk about Toastmasters International and what that is. And I like to use the analogy of a university. Toastmasters International is the university of public speaking and leadership. So that's how we build our skills. Think about your area directors and division directors and district leaders as your professors. Think about the Toastmasters International being possibly the building, but it's the organization itself. Pathways is the education program or the curriculum that this university teaches. And so we think about that as the classes we take, the textbooks we read, the things that help us, the projects that we do, the things that help us build those skills. And then Basecamp. A lot of people say, what is this Basecamp thing? Basecamp is the online system. If you think about it, it is the system that keeps track of all of your education. It keeps track of the classes that you're taking or the paths that you're on. And I like to think about, or when I think about Basecamp, I think about Mount Everest. Mount Everest has actually 2 base camps, from what I understand, a north and a south. But that's where everything starts. That's where the food is kept, the equipment is kept. That's where you start on your journey up the mountain. And so Basecamp is the online system that keeps up with our education. We do have 11 paths and Pathways. And one of the things about Pathways, several years ago, Pathways was rolled out. We had an older system. And in 2010, Toastmasters realized we hadn't changed our education program in over 30 years. So can you imagine using a 30-year-old textbook? Just not going to cut it. And so they redid Pathways, or our education system, because they wanted to, number one, take advantage of technology. They wanted to have a flexible system that could be personalized and customized, but they also wanted to have a system that helped you build skills, real world skills, by doing, by experiencing it. So if you think about a path like effective coaching, you are certainly going to be coaching people if you pick this path. If you think about a leadership path like leadership development, you are going to be leading teams. Presentation mastery, you are going to be presenting. And so all of these paths are set up so that you are building, as I said, real world skills. So I wanted to go through a few terms with you real quickly, and I'll use the same university analogy. We have paths and pathways. We have levels. Every path has 5 levels, and every level has 2 to 3 projects. So in that same analogy, if you think about your path, that is, what degree are you going to get at this university? Are you going to get a math degree? Are you going to get a literature degree? Are you going to get a presentation mastery degree? So that is your course of study. That's what you want to get your degree in. If you think about levels, I think about it this way. Level 1, freshman. Level 2, sophomore. Level 3, junior, etc. to level 5, which is graduate study. So you think about progressing into the different levels, you get more and more skills as you go through the levels. And then your projects are those assignments, the study that you have to do, reading your textbook, looking at videos, things like that, so that you are building those skills. And then what projects you have to do, what speeches you have to do. things like that. And so it's path, level, project. I love detail, but I also have to see the big picture. And so I wanted to look at my presentation mastery path and see just how many speeches I might have to do. What does the overall path look like? And so this is a schematic of the presentation mastery path. You can see level 1, level 2, level 3. And if you think about it that way, it is progressive. So once I get to level 5 in presentation mastery, you can see that their project is prepare to speak professionally. I would have to give an 18 to 22 minute speech when I am in my graduate study in order to complete this project. So you can see that there are approximately 10 mandatory projects and 4 electives. Just like in university, a lot of times you have electives that you can pick, but you do have those required classes that you have to take. And then there were approximately 15 speeches, 1 evaluation, and 2 larger projects by the time I had finished presentation mastery. So I just wanted to see that big picture. So I want to walk us through a project, but I thought I would start with how you sign on. And I want to show you a shortcut that I use. You can get to Pathways through the Pathways tab, but I don't do that. I actually go through what they call your welcome message. And this is when you log on, you have welcome at the top and it will have your name. Excuse me. This is what is called your profile, but that's where I click. And then I come to this screen and you can see that you have everything you need to go to Pathways. You have on the left-hand side, you can go to Basecamp. There's a little button that you can click to log in as a Basecamp manager. You can choose a path and you can view the navigator. That's a manual that talks about Pathways and talks about Toastmasters. But the reason I wanted to show this screen to you and the reason it is a shortcut is it has a button where you can go directly to your transcripts. So you click two clicks, welcome, and go to my transcripts, and it takes you straight to your transcripts. It just saves you a couple of clicks. And so I'm all for saving clicks here. You can see that these are my transcripts. I am in the engaging humor path and I'm in the innovative planning path, but this takes you straight to your transcript. So once you're working in Pathways, you probably don't want to go through all those screens. You can just go directly here. So I thought we would walk through a project and I wanted to show you just how we do that. This is my I have many paths open, you can see. This is presentation mastery. I'm going to open the curriculum. So once I select that, it takes me to my level 1. And you'll notice on the left-hand side, there's a percentage. That is the percentage that you have completed of the entire path. Over on the right-hand side, you have the completion of the level. So this is at 25%. You can see by the check mark that I have completed the icebreaker, but I haven't completed any of the other projects. So we're going to take a look at evaluation and feedback. I'm going to launch that. And this is the cover page. So we can begin our project. And so when we talk about navigating in a project, it has arrows, bright arrows on either side. And what that will do is take you forward to the next page on the right or backward to the previous page on the left. A lot of times I will just walk through the project page by page and do my reading and scan things and look at it. Or at the very bottom, it has a drop down where you can go to any of the sections that you want straight. You can go straight to that section. So once you get working in it, you may just want to go directly to the evaluation page, and you can do that this way. One of the key things that is in the beginning of every project is your assignment. So when I think about this in corporate terms, these are my deliverables. What am I going to have to deliver in order to complete this particular project? And so I've summarized it over on the right-hand side, but if you read this overview, it's telling me that I need to do a first speech, a 5 to 7 minute speech on any topic. Then I will take the evaluation that I get from this project and I will apply it to a second speech. So it gives you an opportunity to take your feedback and apply it. You can do the same speech all over again. A lot of people like to do that because then they can concentrate on the things that the evaluator told them, or you can do an entirely different speech if you want to. It's up to you. But then the third part of this assignment is you actually do an evaluation. So you're learning about it, and then you're actually doing it. So you do an evaluation, and then you get someone to evaluate your evaluation. They'll give you feedback. One of the first things that you do as you're walking through a project is a before assessment. So this is our benchmark. This is saying before you've read anything, before you've done the project, before you've done your speech, where are you in your skills? And so you simply take this quiz and submit it, and that is your benchmark for later. The thing that I really like about Pathways, because it is online, it gives us an opportunity to have a lot of interaction, and it has videos for almost everything. So if you haven't done an evaluation before, even if you have, there's a video to let you know how to do an evaluation. So instead of just reading a book or reading a manual, it shows you how to do an evaluation. And for this particular project, there are 3 people giving an evaluation. 2 of them, not so good. 1 of them, much, much better, but it gives you the evaluators and then it stops and talks about it. So that has been very helpful to actually see the evaluation done. And most of the Pathways projects do have videos that you can watch. This is what I call just an education page. It talks about the difference between feedback and advice. So it tells you here education about whatever the project is specifically. All right. One of the things I really like about Pathways, and I'm just walking through this project and spotlighting some of the things for you. But one of the things I really like is the examples. So it talked about the difference between advice and feedback, and then it shows you the difference between advice and feedback. So if you look at this chart, you'll see on the advice side, usually that is your opinion, and it is what I call emotional or kind of judgmental. So if you look at the left-hand side, the advice has words like you need to, you have to, you didn't, you must, things like that really aren't always so positive. If you look at the right-hand side at feedback, you'll see that it is more what I call fact-based. It is things like, I noticed, I had trouble hearing you, I observed, I saw. And you'll also notice that it's always saying I can't speak for everyone. I can only speak for what I heard, what I saw, and what I felt. And so I'm going to do that. But on the right-hand side, it is more factual. You're just stating the facts. And so that can be the difference between feedback and advice. And that's why I like the examples that they give you a lot of times in the projects. The other thing that is nice sometimes is you have quizzes. And so this is a particular quiz. After you have some of the education and you read it, then it will come back and have a quiz for you. So I'm going to ask you all, what do you think the answer to this is? Excuse me. A lot of times in Toastmasters, you can, as an evaluator, have a private discussion with a speaker, so you can give him additional feedback or answer questions that he may have. This is particularly good with maybe a new member who's not really sure about some of these projects. But this question is, begin your private evaluations by asking the speaker how he, number 1, felt about the presentation. Number 2, how he could have improved his performance. Number 3, how he did compared to other speakers of the day. Or number 4, how he was able to read the audience. Do we have any idea what the correct answer might be on this one? Anybody? Okay, do you want to say? Okay, very good. Number one. And the reason this says begin your private conversations this way is ask the speaker how they felt about their presentation. This does two things. It tells you what they're thinking, but it also allows you to see if you need to possibly adjust your answer. Because if you're agreeing with them, you can easily say, I totally agree with you. I think that's spot on. If you don't agree, possibly, and have some additional information, you can adjust what you're going to say and make it very, very positive. You don't necessarily want to see how he can improve his presentation, not right at the beginning. You may get into that. How do you think you could have improved? You definitely don't want to have them compare themselves to other speakers. They're just starting out, and you don't want to ever do that. And at this point, they may not be able to read their audience just yet. So the correct answer is ask them how they felt about their presentation, see what their thoughts were. One of the other pages that is in all projects is an evaluation page, and you can see how the evaluation forms match the assessment or the assignment that we saw in the very beginning. There are 2 speeches and an evaluation speech. This is a page too that always has an option where you can print your project. I'm certainly not going to have the videos, but if you really just want to have that printed copy, you can always go here and print. It will give you a PDF of all of the education, just like a textbook. So that's where you would find that. And then finally, and this is a key assessment that you need to take. This is what triggers your assignment to be complete when you do this after assessment. So what I typically do is look at my assignment, do my before assessment, and then I may not look at my project again. When you have finished all of your assignment, you go in and do your after assessment. So this is saying, after I've done all the study, after I've done my speeches, what is my skill level now? If you do this, submit it successfully, you will see a comparison of your before and after. So again, that's just a trigger that says I've completed my project, and that's what puts that check mark back at the beginning to say this project is complete. All right, I did want to talk to everybody about the new level 1. Some of you may not even realize there is a new level 1, and I wanted to show you so that your officers understand that, and so that anyone who hasn't picked a path yet may see something a little bit different than everybody else. So let's walk through level 1 real quickly. This is prior to October 27th. This is the level 1 that you will see, the icebreaker, the evaluation and feedback project, and the researching and presenting. So this may look familiar to all of you. Now, if you have already picked a path before October 27th, you will stay with this level 1 until you complete it. It won't change. If, however, you picked your path after or on October 27th, this is the new level 1 that you will get. You'll see it has an icebreaker, and it still has the evaluation and feedback project, but it's got 2 brand new projects: writing a speech with purpose and introduction to vocal variety and body language. And so I think when Toastmasters redid level 1, they actually listened to us, because a lot of Toastmasters were saying, who had been Toastmasters for a long time, were saying there's some fundamentals missing in level 1. When somebody is just starting out, there's nothing that tells them how to write a speech. And so they've added writing a speech with purpose that tells you about how to open, how to close, what to put in your body, what is your purpose for the speech, what is the message that you're trying to get across. And then introduction to vocal variety and body language, they realize that that is so important to a new Toastmaster to understand how effective vocal variety and body language can be. There are electives, but if you chose not to do those electives, you would never have any education about vocal variety and body language. So they put it back here in level 1 at the very beginning so that new Toastmasters would have that education. And so I'm visual. I like to see thing. So I put these side by side just to show you the differences. So icebreaker is still there. It's the first thing you always do. That hasn't changed. Evaluation and feedback is still in level 1 in the new level 1, but it's not the second project. It's been moved to the end. Researching and presenting has moved. It is now a level 3 project. It's an elective. And then, of course, we have the 2 new speeches here, Writing with Purpose and Introduction to Body Language and Vocal Variety. So this is a different level 1. As a VPE or an officer, you'll see that you may have people in the old level 1 and you may have people in the new level 1. You could even have the same member who has selected a path and now they have a new level 1. So it is going to be a mixed bag for a while. But I did want to just explain that to you. And finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about recognition in Basecamp. And this is something that this is something that you can do yourself. You can view your certificate and print it, but the VPE can also do this as well as a Basecamp manager. And so this is your certificate of completion. Anytime you complete a level, you can see that this is for level 2 over in the left-hand bottom corner. To get to this, your VPE can go to the Basecamp Manager homepage and then do a search. They would start keying in the member that they're looking for, and it will come up, and as you build the name, it will come up with your options here. So we're going to select Martin. And then we can actually go to Martin's Pathways criteria or curriculum. And if you look at the very bottom, once someone has successfully completed the level, you can see it says View Certificate. So your VPE can actually go in here, view your certificate, and print it out. And so this is another thing, if you are a new Toastmaster, once you complete all the things in your level, you've completed all the projects, then there is an option at the very bottom that says a completion, a level completion. You would submit that. That is what triggers your Basecamp managers to get an email that says this person has completed their level 2. They would go in and approve it for you. Once they do that, then you can see the certificate. And so I do have clubs that in this virtual environment, we do have best speaker ribbons. We do like to give icebreaker mints and virtual icebreaker mints to anyone who does an icebreaker. And we also like to give the level of completion or award it when anytime someone has completed a level. So in person, what we typically do is print this on cardstock and present it to them at the meeting. Virtually, we just put it on a PowerPoint slide so that we can bring it up and congratulate them for recognition. In closing, I just wanted to reference a Chinese proverb that says, tell me and I'll forget, show me and I may remember, but involve me and I'll understand. And so Pathways is something that looks at building those experiences so that you're actually doing projects, you're getting experience. Pathways is a perfect resume builder. If you're doing projects where you're leading teams and you're successful, put it on your resume. Employers love to see that you are doing things outside of your work environment, especially when you're doing things for nonprofits that really benefit your community. So I hope that this has helped with some of the Pathways education. I am the District 14 training team member for Division D, so I'm always available if you need any questions answered about Pathways.